The series versus the Stars, a lot of people expect it to be the best series out of any series in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoff. All eyes from the hockey world are going to be on the Avalanche and the Dallas Stars for a myriad of reasons. You have the tiny threads of stories, Duchesne, Rantanen, history. You think of back-to-back Western Conference final losses, even though that seems like ancient history now. I think for Avalanche fans and the Avalanche front office, time to turn the tide. So not only do you have the personal stories inside the series, possible return of your captain, you have two of the top 5 teams in the National Hockey League overall in a first-round matchup. I think it's the marquee series in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Welcome to the Mile High Hockey Lab.
Hello and welcome to the Mile High Hockey Lab. My name is Adrian Hernandez. I am joined today by Ezra Parter, Brennan Vogt, and Evan Liu. And you know what? Potentially Jackie K. Brennan is shaking his head in disgust because this is actually the second time we've done this intro. As you know, this show is put on by yours truly, and sometimes Ado makes mistakes. If you're my wife, you know that Ado makes a lot of mistakes. So thank you for joining the program.
I'm not going to even comment on that
one. Please head on over to our website, milehighhockey.com, where we have all our written material, previews, recaps, opinion pieces, all of that good stuff. And give us a follow on your preferred social media platform. On X, we are all caps MHH_lab and at Mile High Hockey. So lots to talk about today, to include last night's defeat to the Dallas Stars. We should also talk about Gabe Landeskog, since it's not been an episode since that beautiful and wondrous goal that he scored. We will also look ahead at Game 6, maybe react to some of the online discourse as it pertains to one Jared Bednar, talk about Flop Fest 2025, and, do all the stuff Colorado Avalanche like we do here at the Mile High Hockey Lab. Thank you to the three of you, Ezra, Brennan, and Evan, for joining me today. Let's start with Mr. Landeskog, the Nordic master himself. Brennan, I'll send this one to you because I know that Gabe has a special place in your heart. So we saw Gabe Landeskog score a goal for his first goal in over 1,040 days. How did that make you feel? Keep it PG.
Well, then you took half the words out of my mouth.
I kind of figured.
No, happy. Well, I mean, considering the fact that I've already seen a goal at the AHL level, but seeing him do it at the NHL level and get that monkey off his back is just fantastic. I think it's exactly what he needed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no words to really describe when you get that first goal off your back after a major surgery. I've been through a couple of them, and even just getting a point, it matters. So it just it's hard to describe, but
he said it best when he said, like, it's hard to score in the NHL. So that was a big moment for me. And I agree with that. I noticed that you got a fancy Eagles jersey behind you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if that one has 92 on it. Let's see. Does it? Oh, it sure does. What a gem. That Landeskog Colorado Golden Eagle jersey is what I call that. That is really cool that you got your hands on that, Mr. Brennan. But in terms of the goal, Ezra, and in terms of his performance, I mean, Landeskog has already been slotted into the most key parts of this lineup just 3 games into his new tenure as a professional hockey player. How surprised are you that he's been able to get up to speed so quickly and be so impactful right off the rip?
Yeah, I'm so impressed. I'm not surprised that he got back into the game, right? It felt like that was definitely going to happen. He was going to play Game 3. We felt that for a while, but for him to do it at such a high level, I mean, man, it's a testament to what he's, just to the drive of him as an individual, not only to come back from injury, but to make sure he was ready to fully contribute, to be his best self in the lineup. It's amazing. And in a way, it's a testament to the organization too, not rushing him back early, not trying to play around with it, just saying, hey, get to the level that you want to be at before you get back in the lineup. And he yeah, man, it's great to see. I also bought a Landeskog jersey
Yeah.
after this, but I think I got it from a scam site. I'm pretty mad at myself. I'm
Even better. I'm just kidding. I don't condone such behavior.
No, I lost my money.
Oh,
But
even worse. Even
yeah,
worse. Even
we'll
worse.
see. We'll see.
Well, we're talking about Gabe Landeskog, and we're talking about his return and his goal is in that game. What was it, Wednesday night? Am I losing my mind? Saturday night. Saturday
Sorry.
night, excuse me. Saturday night's game was electric. 4-0, a complete domination, a full, complete performance and game from the Colorado Avalanche. They got a shutout. Mackenzie Blackwood's first career shutout in the playoffs. Evan, let's start talking about the bad and the ugly now. What on God's green earth happened? What did they eat? What sort of television programs did they watch? Did they sleep differently? How is it that the Avalanche looked like such a different team from one game to the next? And how much credit do you have to give the Dallas Stars, or is it really just a mindset for the Avs?
You know what? It's such a great question as what happened, because how you go from that swing of momentum Saturday night where you have Gabe Landeskog scoring dominant performance on home ice, like you're putting up almost 50 shots on the Dallas Stars. You've caused Jake Oettinger to be pulled. Like that's everything you want and more.
Yep.
Right. And you expect them to carry that into game 5, and that lasted all of 9 seconds. So
exactly.
I feel like it was kind of written in the stars. I mean, just 9 seconds in, like that doesn't happen. And then same, I didn't even mean to do that pun. And then again, two, of course, in that last minute, all things considered, like they fought back in that second period, but it was ultimately just too big of a hole to come out of when you come out like that in the period, and you don't want to be putting yourself behind the 8 ball, and that's what happened. So I couldn't tell you what they ate or watched on TV, but whatever it was, not pretty.
Well, I got raked over the coals early in the game last night because after period number 1, I get puck luck and I get how it figures into a game. But I also know that like standing flat-footed and letting puck luck have its way is also a thing. And I felt like it was confirmed when in the second period, the Avalanche gave up a goal in the first minute and 20 seconds of that frame, that there was a little bit of hesitance from the Avalanche, And also, I mean, just because I said that the Avalanche didn't seem to be ready to go doesn't mean I think they didn't prepare. I think those are two different things. I feel like concept-wise, maybe even mentality, they were prepared, and strategically they were prepared. But for whatever reason, when the lights came on, they weren't quite ready to go. And I honestly, like, I get that the puck flew 30 feet in the air off a foot and then landed right there near post for someone to put in. But Blackwood himself said it sucks when the literal first shot on net is the one that I want back, because I do think that should be saved in any specific situation, given the context in game 5, the most important game of the season, it definitely should be saved. So, I mean, I understand the puck luck thing, but if you go down the puck luck road, you're going to be golfing on Saturday, because nothing is going to be handed to you in this series. Plain point, period. And not only that, the only thing that's getting handed out is penalties to the Avalanche when Dallas Stars maybe are penalized. I mean, maybe there's a penalty, but by God, it shouldn't warrant the flippy floppy fish tactics that are happening abound. Ezra, talk about that play from Jamie Benn where he literally skated into Manson's stick and drew a penalty.
I mean, it's brilliant. I don't know. Like Jamie Benn is I guess a genius at one thing, and it's being the worst guy. I don't know. I mean, it's I don't know what else to say. But how does a referee watch a guy skate into a stick and call the stick the problem? I don't get it at all. I think the only explanation is the referee was not watching and saw a guy go down and a stick in the air and decided that must have hit him in the face, which, it technically did, but I don't think, I mean, man, there's no way that the ref watching that replay is going to be like, I nailed that one.
Yeah, exactly.
That ref is going to watch that and be sick to his stomach, and he should be. It's unacceptable. But at the same time, it's really smart from Ben. And then I won't swear on air, but he was mouthing to the ref like that B word, and it's like he's really selling it, man. Like
Yeah, he is.
you're the B word, B word.
Yeah. You're the
It doesn't
B-word,
help that he's
B-word.
one of 5 players to not be wearing a half shield.
That's what I said last night on our
And
X
yeah,
account.
and I can name them, and he's one of them.
Yeah.
It's Ryan O'Reilly, Ryan Reeves, Jamie Benn, Matt Martin. I think those are it.
Yeah. And you're not allowed to flop if you don't wear a visor.
Yeah, that's
Period.
kind of my opinion. Honestly, you should be watching out for more pucks towards your mouth
Yeah.
because
Well, I imagine if he had a visor on, he would have found a way to like skate up to the stick and kind of like duck his helmet so it got stuck in it.
Yeah, hook
You know,
it. Yeah. It would have given
turn
him
it into a
more.
4-minuter.
Well, I agree with you, Ezra. Like I quoted myself here with this graphic genius, right? I said best to accept the fact that when Dallas starts to lose momentum, they're going to hit the deck any chance they get, and the hockey gods will catch up with that. The only thing I fear with that is that it will be too late, and it won't be against the Avalanche when the hockey gods catch up with Dallas, because and you can't go down that road. It's the same as the puck luck road. If you are gonna play the victim in this series, you're going to lose. Period. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how legitimate of a claim you have in saying that was a terrible call or a terrible non-call in the case of Rope Hintz cross-checking Nathan McKinnon in the neck. That isn't going to win you games. And that's kind of what I was saying on X last night was just because the puck went 30 feet in the air doesn't make the goal count any less. And so when you're down 2-0 after the first frame, in the second period, you have to change something. And what I want to talk about a little bit now is the approach with getting shots on net and all of a sudden turning down open looks in game 5 compared to game 4. Brendan, how does that psychologically happen? Like, how do you have so much success taking any chance you get, much less grade A chances, and then the next game, flip a switch to where you're back to peeling back, looking for the perfect pass, making the extra pass, and not just putting the puck into the dangerous area?
well, keep in mind that Dallas had the first change the second game.
Yeah.
So so they
Good point.
the Avs were adjusting to Dallas's changes. So that probably didn't help, but that shouldn't be much of an excuse. And you can't really claim the ice as an excuse.
Yeah. No, because Denver's ice was pretty much just as bad
Yeah.
in game 4. Yeah.
No, I felt like they were getting to the medium range, the mid range, pretty well because I posted a graphic, like I think it was like halfway through the first period or something like that, and it showed that that's where Otter's weakness is. So
Mhm.
they were trying to shoot a lot of the pucks from there, but honestly, I felt like that's the only place that they were trying to shoot because that's where his weakness was and nowhere else. It's
Yeah.
like you gotta work around, vary your shots, and they weren't doing that.
I agree with you. And also, like, just dumping the puck into the corner as a defender just so that the forwards can retrieve and then cycle back to you so you can not take a shot. It just doesn't make sense to me. It happened over and over with Devontae's last night, where it's like, and the other thing that I wrote about in the morning flurries with Devontae's was he is so obviously trying to clear space for the cross ice pass to Kale that Dallas is allowed to lean towards Kale. I think that's something that not a lot of people are talking about, where Devontae's needs to make himself a scoring threat again. Because right now, as he's playing, Dallas can kind of just anticipate the fact that he's going to try and get it over to Kale, who's going to try to make a move at the blue line and get to that mid range that you're talking about, Brennan. The thing about it is, when you allow a team to lean towards a player, that first moment when he gathers, it has to be perfect. Otherwise, when Kale gathers and has to regather, there's already a defender in front of him taking away his lane to the net. And to me, Devontae's in game 6 could win the game. single-handedly if he does start to look like an offensive threat from his own side of the blue line. Now, that brings me to the next question, Evan. This is something that I poo-pooed last week when Mr. Anthony Pacino said that Bednar was on the hot seat. Now, there's more online discourse with that. I don't necessarily want to validate it because I don't agree. But where do you stand on the Bednar being on the hot seat
No,
debacle?
no,
Yeah.
he's not getting fired. No,
Yeah.
it's I feel like this comes around every playoff, right?
Mhm.
Oh, he's only gone past the second round once. What happened when they went back past the second round?
Yeah.
Huh? What happened that time? And you talk about a guy who came in who's now the second longest tenured head coach in the NHL, right? Because
Mhm.
Mike Sullivan's no longer at the Pens. He came in August 2016 on short notice with not a lot to happen, and he went on to a 48-point season. Okay, whatever. So be it, right? That season was a wash kind of from the get-go. Since then, he's bounced back brilliantly. And you think back to the last few years in particular, where he's sometimes not had Nathan McKinnon, not had Cale Makar. What was it, that game in Philly where it was like Mikko Rantanen and then nobody else? And I
Yes.
think they won that game.
I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, like he makes do with what he's got, which is phenomenal. And when he has what he has, like in 2022, it turns out pretty damn well. Sure, you could look at the play, the power play, whatever. Oh, his record against Pete DeBoer. Sure, you could look at that, but he's not going anywhere. He's under contract. He's I would say, at least anyway, generally liked by the fans. He's definitely liked by the front office.
Mhm.
He
by the
is
players.
plenty comfortable, I think. Yeah, loved by the players, exactly. Like he is plenty comfortable. Like there's no way that he's going. If he goes, I will be very, very surprised at the end of the season. I just don't see that happening. It's just all the animosity and emotions that come with playing in the playoff series. That's really
Hire Coach
really,
Cronin.
Well, that's why.
Cronin worked on in the NHL. That's for
Yeah.
sure a good idea.
Yeah. Well, I titled the episode "New Rollercoaster" to your point, Evan, that it's just been like up and down and up and down, and a lot of people last night pointed out to me that it's not atypical for the Avalanche to follow a dominant performance with an absolute dud. And although I know that's true, I don't accept it. I don't accept it, especially not in the playoffs. And I think in Game 6, if they hold true to this image that others have put on them, they should have a pretty good game in Game 6. And then I said in the chat they should probably force a Game 7, and I won't tell the world what I said there because I was really sad when I wrote it. But basically, it didn't turn out well. Let's just put it that way. But honestly, from the jump, I said Avs and 7. And we had some Avs and 5 in here and some Avs and 6 in here. Still, Avs and 6 is still on the table. I think, Brendan, were you the only one who said 6? Or Jackie?
Dude,
Jackie
I'm
said
so
6 as
tired.
well.
I don't remember.
the point is though that Avs in 6 isn't possible now either.
No, it's not.
It'd have to be in 7.
It's not.
Yeah.
So it has to be in 7, and which leads me to my next, and it's a new segment, and I guess hopefully we only play it. Well, let's see. Before I put my foot in my mouth, how do I want to put this? We're gonna play this game this week, and maybe we'll play it again in a couple of weeks because the Avs will still be in the playoffs, and then maybe again a couple of weeks after that because the run. But I call it. Are we golf or game day on Saturday? And so it's a yes or no, basically, with yes being game day and no being golf. So Ezra,
And
Avs
breaking news: Vancouver just fired the coach.
so there you go. More coaches getting fired.
Who another coach I would not rather have than Jared.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Ezra. On Saturday, will the Avs be? Will it be a game day or will it be golf?
It's game day, baby.
All right. Tell me why.
I think that everyone saying the Avs were god awful in this game are not watching hockey. I don't understand how people can watch a game and think the results were bad, therefore everyone is bad. This team is very good. They didn't get the bounces and they didn't respond as well as they should have, but they're very good. And we've seen what happens when they respond well. they will respond well at home. Game 7 is another question. That's a monkey they need to get off their backs. I didn't think it would have to go this far, but I'm still extremely confident in this team, and they're going to prove me right.
Beautiful. Ezra says Saturday will be game day. Brennan, Saturday, golf for game day.
Well, it's game day because I don't feel like swimming.
Yes, yeah. Is that
I haven't
true?
shaved my bikini line for my speedo, so
And
that's not a
God.
sight you guys want to
Golfing.
see.
That's not even a sight I wanted to think about.
No,
seeing.
I put it in your mind. Now think about it.
What does that have to do with golfing? I'm confused.
Well, no. With all the diving,
Oh yes, I see. Well, so I
come
get
on,
it.
put the two together, editor.
1 and 1 equals 2. Got it. All right. No, it took me a while as well,
It
but
was some tough math.
all right. So we got 2 game days on Saturday. Evan, are we golfing or are we game day on Saturday?
Listen, it's been a long week for me, man. And I'm getting ready for finals, all that stuff. That's why I didn't connect. I'm sorry, Brennan. My heart says game day, but my head says golf.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with this. And like I agree with all of you that like, I think the Avs could respond. I think that it's certainly a possibility. I could see this being very similar to, I think, back to 2019, that game 6 against the San Jose Sharks, where it took overtime and Landeskog early in overtime getting to the front of the net and scoring the OT winner, forcing game 7 in San Jose. Like, I could see something very similar to that happening. The fact of the matter is, though, is that Dallas is just a damn good hockey team, and they could very easily shut it down. Jake Oettinger could take it to another level. Miro Heiskanen could be back by Thursday for all we know. That's another weapon they could add to their arsenal. Like, that's pretty dangerous for sure for game 6. And that's, again, why I think my head says golf, but my heart says game day Saturday, because
New flower.
Yes, Jackie's got a new emblem, and we are joined in this program just in time by our managing editor, Jackie K. Jackie, thank you for joining us from Worlds Abound. Right now, we're playing a game that I created that's really sad, but also kind of funny, and it's called Game Day or Golf. On Saturday, with the Game 6 coming up, will the Avs be playing a Game 7 on Saturday, Jackie, or will they be golfing, and why? Jackie, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
There you are. There
yes. You are. That's tough. I'll say golf.
So they're golfing. Tell me why.
Well, I do think it helps that Game 6 is at home, but I just think this team doesn't know how to handle adversity. So I think the game will be close, but I think ultimately they're going to meet their fate.
Yeah.
And there won't be a Game 7.
Oh, that would be a heartbreaker. But I it's something that I could definitely see happening, Jackie. And because that was going to be my follow-up to Evan to, are we game day or golf on Saturday? My head answer is game day. My heart answer is golf. And it's because my heart has been hurt so many times in this matchup and in this situation. This same exact situation that we're looking at right now is the one that we were looking at last season, except where home ice is, right? So if things follow suit to last year and the year before and the year before that and the year before that, the Avs are going to lose a heartbreaker to Dallas in Game 6. No pun intended. Matt Duchene will not get to do the celebration again, or maybe he will. And so that's like where I'm at. I'm damaged goods. I'm the guy coming into the relationship who's just too hurt by the last one to even give this next one a chance. But to Ezra's credit, my head says this is a good team. This is a team who has shown just a game before this one how absolutely dominant they can be. Not just good, not just skirt by their opposition, but absolutely put their will upon them in Game 4. Excuse me. That's what happened. That's what we saw. So I think this does come back to you, Jackie, and your point, though, about the cohesive nature of this lineup with how quickly it's been brought together. Do you feel validated right now as we sit in terms of viewing this Avs team as too much composed of those mercenary types that you described earlier in the season?
Well, definitely, but there'll be plenty of time for flogging later. I think it more just gets back to the issues that we've seen, and I brought up time and time again. Like I said, it's difficult for this team to create offense. It's difficult for them to create offense against good teams. And like you said, we saw a great game 4, but it doesn't happen all the time. In the other games, it's been very difficult to score. Even though game 1 was that 5-1 score, it was only that because of the empty nets right at the end of the game. We've seen their issues on the power play. I've talked about that for probably 6 or 7 years. And you just pray that it doesn't cost them a series. And now they don't have their best power play scorer anymore. And they're struggling on the power play again. Like, it's not even necessarily the mercenaries. You look at Duran's not playing well. Y'all have said Netchess isn't playing well. You know, it's like these are the guys that they're supposed to count on at this time. And maybe not count on like a Makar or McKinnon, but like they're in the top 6. Like they have to do something consistently. So I think that's the point that I'm going to lean on for now. Not the way that this team was created, which will be talked about a lot in the off season, but they haven't solved those problems. Just because you bring in a couple guys, you haven't solved those problems. So I think, to me, those are what's rearing their ugly head right now. And also that not creating offense from the back end. That's another point that I've made. And I don't think Malinsky's the guy scored 15 points this season. So, I mean, if you're counting on offense from him in a consistent manner, these are all the downfalls that are kind of lining up for them. And hey, maybe they win 2 games and they get by, but you got to do it 3 more series. And that's where I think this team isn't built to overcome that.
Yeah, I mean,
you know who could be playing Saturday?
Stop it.
Brad Marchand.
Oh my god. Yes.
Okay, but I want to.
Ezra, okay.
I want to ignore that and move on. The Avalanche have outchanced the Stars in all but one game this series. It's true that they haven't scored as many goals. That is a fact. But I don't agree that they aren't creating offense. I don't agree that they haven't been dangerous. I don't agree that they haven't played well, frankly. It hasn't gone their way, but that doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. We had one amazing game where everything broke their way and they dominated. And we've had a bunch of games where things mostly haven't broken their way and they've been very close. Or then
last night,
the one real dud. The one real dud. But that real dud, I think, there's a simple explanation for that real dud. Terrible goal from Blackwood.
I don't think it's just bad luck or bad calls, because we've seen this.
I'm not saying
Dallas
that.
was terrible analytically for weeks, and the Avs have been good analytically. Like I am a advocate for analytics, but I think I think the fan base is leaning on a little bit too much to kind of like validate the team.
But watching the game too, I look at what I'm seeing on the ice, and I see a team that is creating chances. They are playing aggressively. They are controlling.
There's a lot of perimeter play. They don't go to the net.
That is
they
what
can get shut down too often.
I'm curious,
and
though.
The power play.
Yeah, I'm curious about that, Ezra, because I agree with you, Ezra, that they look plenty capable at times. Where this is getting awkward for me is continuing to not do what's shown itself to you as what works. Like, you're totally right. They got plenty of chances last night. But the way they were getting their chances last night compared to how they got their chances in game 4 is, in fact, the issue for me personally. I just think,
agree with you.
if you're Nathan McKinnon and you're peeling up and you're looking for a cross ice pass, you're wrong. You drive the net because you're Nathan McKinnon. It's not that easy, but it is, because you're Nathan McKinnon. You get your butt to the net. Let me just one thing.
Right.
It's okay if if you can't get to the areas you need to get to score, you have to put the puck in those areas first and then find it. That is basic hockey logic. And I think that when the first part doesn't work, the Avs are stubborn and they're not willing to get to the second part soon enough to make a true difference. And to me, in game 4, they started there. And that's why the dominance started from the moment the puck dropped, was because they started with the desperate mentality of, I don't care if it's destined to go in or if it looks pretty, I'm going to get this puck into the net front area. And that showed itself to work. And that's where I am kind of with Jackie in the sense of that cohesiveness from one game to the next does feel like it's at the fault of guys who just haven't played a lot together and can't really from one game to the next think, all right, well, we're going to roll with that. It's always just like another new beast every single playoff game that they have to tackle. So I guess my question, Ezra, is with all of that spiel I gave you, do you see that same thing or is it really just luck and bounces?
No, I'm not saying it's luck and bounces.
Yeah.
No, I don't want those. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
But last night's game specifically, they got one terrible goal from Blackwood that set them off on the wrong foot, right? And then they played a pretty good first period. They responded pretty well to that. They didn't get anything to go, but they were pretty good that first period. And then they got a second terrible goal from Blackwood. These are both like just terrible post seals. I don't know. I don't know how else to put it. He's a very good goalie. He's been excellent. That was bound to break, and it broke. And they didn't respond well to that either, as a whole. But they came out in the second period, and they did play pretty well.
Yeah.
Honestly, they were creating chances. They weren't. But what they were doing was, because they were chasing the game, they were playing a little too aggressive. They were trying to be a little too creative with their aggression instead of playing the simple game that you're talking about, because they were in a hurry to catch up, which is a mistake. That is a mistake. That is what needs to be coached out of them. And I feel like that is generally being coached out of them. But there's a couple of guys who that has been their game their whole life, Natchez and Druin specifically. And, it's hard for those guys to adapt, and they need to step up and do it. What's frustrating to me about this whole series, throughout every game, even the games where I'm like, no, these guys are playing pretty well, which is most of the games, is that Brock Nelson and Valentin Shushkin are two guys who've made their whole career playing the way that we're saying the Avs should play, and they're not doing it. They're just not. They both look slow, except for that one Gabe goal that we're all like, Brock Nelson was so fast for a second there. How'd that happen? It's like, well, that's who he used to be. That's who he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But if those two guys can't figure out how to be more effective, which at doing the thing that they've both done their whole careers, then the second line's not going to produce, and the Avs are going to have a hard time winning. But I do think the rest of the lineup has been good enough to overcome it most nights. Last night, with Blackwood letting in 2 bad goals, the whole lineup was chasing the game, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree that first goal was, in particular, the first goal to me just can't happen. And the second goal, man, he looked like a NHL 25 goalie stuck in a glitch. Like, you can find the puck if you look for it. He literally just froze and started to back up into the net. And I get it.
Well,
you don't know where it is. So you
that's
start
technically
to protect.
what you're supposed to do. If you can't find it, you back up.
But you can't find it if you don't look for it.
I don't mind him not looking for it. I mind him not sealing the top of he didn't seal the post. He backed up slowly and didn't seal the post. Your job is to put your arms up and get him. That's your job. You know the puck's up, you get like that. That's your whole job.
What do you see, Brandon, in kind of what we're talking about? Where do you land?
With Blackwood, or just in general?
In general, kind of where we're at.
Well, Nuke needs to move his feet. He just seems like he's stuck in concrete, and the fact that he's only produced 1 point in now 5 games is part of a problem. And I think they were depending on him to produce more than 1 point. I'm not going to use the comments that I really am thinking in my mind, because that's between me and you guys. But
sure.
The goal he had was amazing. I'll admit it. But other than that, he's just been non-existent.
Dragging an old man around is exhausting.
Are you talking about Nelson Brock
Yeah.
dragging an old
Watch your
man
mouth.
around?
You and I are older are older than him.
Hey, I'm the oldest one here. I can make
I
any
know.
comments I want.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. Well,
Like,
Evan,
I got 3 years on Brock, and you've got even more. So I'll be
Evan,
a
you're-
gentleman and not say that. But I don't know where Druin's headspace is. You know, and going into a funk, especially during playoffs, is not the best thing when it comes to being a hockey player. What else was
Well,
I
they're going to get
thinking?
nothing out of him on that third. Putting him on that third line, they're going to get nothing out of him.
No, yeah,
Druin,
it's the same thing like
100%
Colton.
nothing.
It's just like Ross Colton. He was producing like no other one before his foot got hurt, and you know he was producing what, a point per game, if not more. And then his foot got hurt, and they put him down on the third line, and what do you know? Nothing.
I noticed no one's asking about him, so I'm pretty much just reserved to the fact that he's done.
No.
I thought I saw something today. That
Evan's
he's
going to
done.
probably say exactly what I'm going to say. So
What you got,
go
Evan?
ahead.
I was going to say that Bednar said at the airport not long ago that he's likely not going to play the rest of the series at
Okay.
least. So that's kind of what's been expected. I guess
Evan,
to
you talk
kind of
about
give my 2
Nichushkin. Yeah, talk about Nichushkin a little bit.
Yeah,
here for
to
me.
give my 2 cents on this, because the second line's been brutal trying to work around it. It's been nice to have kind of the infusion of Landeskog there. You kind of got a glimpse of it in game 4, like you said. But I mean, like, it's just been brutal, honestly. And it's crazy to say the fourth line has probably been the best line of this entire series.
Absolutely.
Like, Logan
It's not even
O'Connor has been brilliant. Who had Logan O'Connor leading the points at one point in game 5? Like, that's pretty wild.
I'm going to give us a little credit because we kept picking, me and you picked Charlie Coyle as our X factor. And I'm giving us credit because the reasons why we picked Charlie Coyle are the same reasons why Logan is becoming an X factor in this series.
I'd agree with that. But like, you need that from your second line too.
Mm-hmm.
You need that from your second line. You need it from your third line. You need it from your first line.
And I was going to say you need it from every line.
This hasn't happened at all. So that's frustrating. And at least 2 on the.
I wouldn't say that's necessarily a good sign.
Yeah, and on the defensive side too. I mean, it's already been kind of touched on, but Cale Makar has been a shadow of himself, which has been really, really weird. Like, sure, he's gotten looks, he's gotten opportunities, but he hasn't scored a goal yet. Like, defensive scoring is huge for this Avalanche team. That's why Cale Makar has been so good. Maybe he used up all the stuff in the regular season for all we know, but it's just
maybe he has family here. Taylor, I think, is staying with him.
I mean,
that could be throwing off his routines and shit.
I mean, I'm of the opinion that Cale's playing well. This is where I have to give Dallas credit. This is where I can't look at the game and go, oh, well, he just needs to work harder. Like, Cale is working hard. Cale's doing the things that Cale does. Ottinger has Cale's number. He seems to pick up on those nuances that not a lot of goalies do in terms of what Cale brings to the table. Additionally, I talked already about how Taves is not activating enough for me as an offensive threat and how that's allowing Dallas to lean towards Cale and how that is affecting him negatively. I also feel like, and this is not rocket science, but in games where the Avs are leading and playing with the lead or are tied, there's a different approach from Cale. And I think that it's to Ezra's credit earlier about how he talked about how the Avs chased in game 5. Cale isn't as good when they're chasing, because when they're chasing, it's Cale. So they know they're going to go to Cale when the Avs need a goal. And it's the same way with Nathan McKinnon. They end up having 2 guys on Nate and 2 guys on Cale. And in power play situations, I think maybe we should get to the thing that we've talked about like 70 million times on this show, which is maybe getting Cale Makar into a more scoring threat role on the power play and less of a quarterback distributor of the power play. You know who sounds like they'd be kind of good at that? A guy named Devon Taves. And you know what could potentially get a guy like Devon Taves re-engaged offensively? I don't know, being on a power play unit. Just saying.
So are you suggesting that you take Taves and put him up on the power the first unit and drop Makar?
Because
That
I
would,
personally hate Tay's quarterbacking. I'd honestly even just pick Malinsky if they're really going to do it. But I
yeah,
know
that's
that
kind of
Ben
what
would
my
never do
thought
that.
was going to be. That or Gerard, but Gerard can get just leveled. We've seen that before.
I think Taves, you can let him facilitate and still defend, knowing that Kale basically takes a place of a forward. And because who's your defender on power play two? Taves, right? So that's who you're going to jump into that QB position on the power play, and then let Kale McCarr float around in the scoring areas like Nathan McKinnon has been able to when Natchez has come in. That's just I'm just trying to find solutions because clearly what's not working on the power play has come back to bite the Avalanche, and that's just
I
where I'm
just
at.
think they really have lost their offensive competitive advantage from the back end. And I think that's to your point of like Kale can't do everything, and they're a good enough defensive team, especially when you're preparing for a team in a series. You can really get into the nitty gritty and come up with a plan on how to stop a certain number of players, even exceptional players. And this is why I don't think they create enough from their defense. I think this is one reason why the second line has become such a black hole. Is the second line is typically not out with Kale, or at least to start. And I think that is another reason why they can never generate offense, because they're trying to generate offense from, obviously Malinsky has a little, Gerard has a little, but you don't have that competitive advantage with whoever is out there in a pair.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like any other team, and they're still trying to create offense like they used to, and they don't have that anymore.
Yeah, I see that. I honestly do see that. I don't think it's over. That's something I want to make clear today. That I don't think that this is over. But I think that the Avs have shown us that they're stubborn enough to let it end. And that's what I'm talking about. Is they're a good enough team to win this series. In my opinion, they're a good enough team to have already won this series. If you look at both of the overtime losses, one of those goes in a different direction here or there, and this entire series is different. So that's not an excuse, but it's not something I'm going to ignore. I'm also not going to ignore what I saw from the Colorado Avalanche in Game 4. I'm not going to ignore what I saw from them last night either. But everything considered, this team is better than the Dallas Stars, and they should show that when Game 6 rolls around, and they should be excited to prove everyone, myself included, wrong on Saturday if they earn themselves a Game 7. And that's where we sit right now. The Avs still control their own fate because they're still a good hockey team. Now, will they come through? That's a completely different thing. I don't know. I do not have the answer to that question. If I did, I'd take everything I had to Vegas and I'd put it all on the Avalanche to win Game 6. But I don't. So here's where we are right now. That leaves us with our last segment of the day, which is bold predictions. In this segment, we make bold predictions that should settle themselves before the next week's episode. I have a feeling that this week's bold predictions will be very much centered around the outcome of Game 6, and that's cool with me. But let's talk about our bold predictions from last week. Hand out those buzzers and those dings. I think mostly buzzers. If only Jackie would have stayed on her fucking Sam Gerard goals, we would have been great, and we would have had ourselves a ding. But Ezra, you said a Val Nichushkin goal. That didn't happen, unfortunately. I
It
think you
did.
said
I said power play.
Power
If
play.
only
Yeah,
I said special teams.
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. 4-on-4. That would have counted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Touche. Jackie, you said Charlie Coyle will continue to outscore Brock Nelson in the 5 or more games. Is that true? Are we sitting there? I don't know. I think they both have one,
I think
right?
Nelson has 2. Does he have 2? I don't know.
Let's see.
But I'll let it ride.
Charlie Coyle has 1 point in the playoffs, and Brock Nelson has, I think it's 2. It is 2. So right now you got a buzzer, unfortunately. I
Well, I
said
said for
that.
the rest of the series because I didn't know if I
Oh,
was gonna be
gotcha. So you'll let it
beyond
ride. I see what
today.
you mean. I see what you mean. Okay. So you got one more game to be right or wrong, or 2 games to be right or wrong, hopefully. Gabe Landeskog will return and have us part in a game winner, was my bold prediction. I was wrong, but man, he scored, baby, and that was one of the coolest things. I mean, this episode has been rough. I knew it was gonna be when before it started. But imagine how fun it would have been had they won, and we were just talking about being up in the series and how Landeskog scored that amazing goal. Like Game 5 really put a damper on this episode's vibe. So I will forever be mad at the Avalanche just for that specific reason. Evan, you had Charlie Coyle has 3 points in 2 home games, and the Avalanche will have a hat trick, none of which happened. But I like your style.
I honestly forgot what my bold predictions were. Those sounded pretty bad now looking back.
Yeah. And then Brennan, you had an Eagles shout out with the Eagles playing. You guessed that they would play Abbotsford and win 3-1. Has that settled?
Oh no, they're playing San Jose.
Oh, so you was wrong about who the competition would be. Okay, so that gives us just enough time to do this week's
Maybe
version
the
of
Avs will send guys down to the Eagles.
yeah.
Gosh, the only people they could send down
I-
without clearing waivers.
Oh, Jackie,
I know they'd have to waive guys.
we're making the sin bin, and you're going in it, and Brandon's going in it every time he says Brad Marchand. You're going in
Brad
it when I'm
Marchand.
too sad for your realism.
I'd
and-
also just preface. I looked. Brad Marchand and the Florida Panthers would not play on Saturday. By the way, so
I just
So
had to
you
get
were
it.
wrong.
And really, the only reason why I bring that up is because San Jose sent a whole bunch of their players down.
nice.
And they're gonna be probably have Askarov play the whole time.
No excuses, baby. Go get that dub.
I don't like Askarov.
Don't like him. Well, let's roll that bold predictions track, and maybe Brandon will get another Eagles one from you, perhaps.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him. I call that bold talk.
We got about 600 of you viewing this show live. Thank you very much for tuning in. Send in your bold predictions right now on the comments, and we will give you a shout out. We will give you your buzzer or your ding in the next episode. And please head on over to our Spotify and Apple Podcast catalog, as you can find every single one of our episodes. This is our 103rd edition of the Mile High Hockey Lab, titled New Rollercoaster Playoff Edition, because man, has this playoff series felt like a really not fun roller coaster. But let's get into our bold predictions. Jackie, let's start with you. What do you got for me this week?
Well, I'll just keep the Coyle over Nelson one. Let it ride.
Okay.
I'll make it easy.
Okay. So we're letting the Charlie Coyle will continue to outscore Brock Nelson, which he was at the time you made the bold prediction. And by the time the series settles. So I got you down for that. Ezra, what about you?
I'm gonna go with a multi-point game from Landeskog in Game 6.
I love it. Man, I was cutting onions like a girl. Sorry, I don't mean, I know that's not the wokest thing ever. Just like a young person, let's put it that way. Like a young person who cannot control their emotions. That was me when Gabe Landeskog scored. It just felt like a culmination. The barn was the loudest it's ever been. I was in the house for Game 5 of the 2022 Stanley Cup Final when they lost. And that, up until this past Gabe Landeskog experience, was the loudest the arena I had ever witnessed. This was beyond that. This was what they get in Canada at Bell Center. And to have that happen was just, it felt euphoric. Like the next day, it still didn't even feel real. So I wonder too if there's like some hangover to that, which we didn't even talk about. The hangover from the Landeskog extravaganza that was Game 5 felt pretty real to me. last night. But I like that bold prediction. Let's keep it rolling with the Gabe Landeskog success, because my goodness, he's back. Evan, what do you got for me this week?
I'm gonna go quick because it just like thundered really loud outside and it scared me. I think we're gonna play 2 more games in this series, and I think they're both gonna go to overtime.
Oh God, and I'm gonna die of a heart attack.
Which means you know who wins Game 6 at that point, but
Yeah,
I'll reserve who I think wins Game 7 in overtime.
Oh, my aching heart. I love it. All right, so we got Gabe having a multi-point game and forcing a Game 7, and Charlie Coyle will probably figure into that so Jackie can get her ding as well. Brandon, what you got for me this week?
So Askarov likes to play the puck a lot, to the point that it even makes me freaking nervous. He's gonna come out, play the puck behind the net, turn it over, and someone for the Eagles is gonna get a goal.
Well, they call that a dang it, yeah?
Yeah, dang it goal.
Yeah, we'll get a dang
if
it
you're
goal.
a goaltender,
You stay.
I it's to the point that it, like, every time he comes out, it's like one of those beer league goalies that just doesn't know how to stay in the net. You shout at him, just get back in the net.
Yeah. He needs a leash.
Yeah, he
It,
does.
so it tugs on him when he gets too far away. Yeah. Okay. So we got a dang it from Askarov. We got a Charlie Coyle continuing to outscore Brock Nelson, a multi-point game from Gabe Landeskog in Game 6. And Evan says this series will feature 2 more games, and they'll both go to overtime. I'm gonna do what I do, which is make a bold prediction that is bold, optimistic, and bound to happen, baby. And so my bold prediction is that Cale Makar gets off of the goal schneid, does score some points, and in fact, he has himself a hat trick. And that hat trick will indeed contribute to a victory in Game 7 of the first round of the Stanley Cup.
With a winning goal in OT.
Yeah. So there you go. That's me with my bold hope of the week. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope that you take this optimism and let it seep into your being and take it with you to Game 6 and let that be the vibe, because, man, the vibes are not good right now as it feels. So how you guys feel? Say the Avs do force a Game 7. Do you feel better or just about the same as you do right now?
Probably the same.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The same. I feel pretty confident.
Oh, I like it. That was a good answer, Ezra. That was like a boxer getting ready for his big fight, and you're like, I feel the same. I'm gonna win.
I mean, I really thought 5, and the only reason it hasn't happened is the Avs didn't bring their best. But if they do bring their best, why not? Let's see.
Yeah. Brandon, what about you? Will you feel better or about the same?
About the same.
About the same. Jackie, how about you? Better or about the same?
Depends how you believe in law of averages.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
Is
I
it more
don't know.
likely that the streak would continue, or more likely that the streak has to end sometime?
Let it be the second one, right? Let it be the second one. Let this, because that's what you said leading into the series. Yeah.
At that point, I really do think it's about fate.
Yeah. Which you mentioned going into this round 1, which was that you felt like this was the year that the Avs slay those demons against Dallas, and that the script was there, was writing itself, and all the Avalanche had to do was see it through, pretty much. But
Exactly.
Here we are.
So if you still I still believe in that script, and I still believe in that fate. So if they can get it to that point, I still think that's on the table. I just think they've performed worse than I would have even expected. So
yeah,
that's why I'd lean more towards, like I said, they have to overcome more adversity than I think they're able to. But
yeah,
like you said, hey, it's just one game. You win it at home. You never know what's going to happen. I definitely think that they are capable of winning it. It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I said, if they even get through this, the same problems are going to persist. But it's one game, win it at home. Then you basically roll the dice against the Fate monster in Game 7 and see what happens.
The Fate monster. I love
Have
that.
you all been watching other series at all?
I have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just coming away from watching like the East, I'm like, whoever comes out of this series is gonna truck through everybody else. Like
Yeah.
these games, and the LA Edmonton games are the only fun, good hockey. Everything else has been so slow and bad. I'm like, yeah, the West is so good.
LA and Colorado are doing that, the Spider-Man meme where they're like pointing at each other.
Yeah,
That's what LA and Colorado are doing
I'm
right
mad
now.
at the Kings for
and all the
big-
fines and suspensions that are possibly happening with Florida and Tampa, and
yeah.
My God.
I mean,
I
Tampa's
agree.
been less.
surprisingly, none of them are Brad Marchand.
It was all a setup. It was all a setup, folks.
Good job, Ezra. Way to bring up the East, just so that. Yep, the sin bin is definitely going to be a thing in the season of 2025-26. It's going to look cool too. I'm going to put it on the screen, and everyone's going to be able to see your face. But it's like on Around the Horn when one guy gets muted. Like that's going to be Brandon like 35% of every episode we have. People are going to tune in and be like, "Oh, Brandon must have said Brad Marchand because he's in the fucking penalty box again." Folks. Well, unless you guys have, unless you all have
Now I'll
something,
get a new phrase next season.
Yeah, there you go. If you all have something I
Keith
didn't
Middleton.
touch on, yeah, there you go. There you go. I like that one better anyway. He's cooler. But unless you all have something else to touch on, I think we're done for the day. You guys good? All righty. Well, folks, thank you so much for tuning in to this 103rd edition of the Mile High Hockey Lab. My name is Adrian Hernandez. Please give us a follow on your preferred social media platform. We are available on X at all caps MHH_lab and at Mile High Hockey. Also, head on over to the website where you will get all of our written material, previews, opinion pieces, recaps, all of that fun stuff. We even got a travel guide for Dallas if you're headed out there for Game 7. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And if you enjoy that written material, please head on over to Apple Podcasts and Spotify, where you will find our full entire catalog, which has chronologically followed this Colorado Avalanche team as well as the teams from the last 2 seasons. So, folks, on behalf of Ezra Parter, Evan Liu, Jackie K, and Brendan Vogt, my name is Adrian Hernandez, and until next time, go Avs.
Thank you for tuning into the Mile High Hockey Lab.